fine.
Okay, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order.
Mr. Smith. Here. Mr. Scheibel. Here. Mr. Humphrey is not here. Mr. Baker. Here. Mr. Lawson. Here. Mr. Howe is not here in this spot.
Here.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mark, approval of the minutes from the February 27, 2023 regular board meeting and the March 7, 2023 special board meeting.
Investment summary through March 24th and budget summary through February 28th. Questions, revisions, corrections? If not, we need a motion.
Mr. Lawson, second by Mr. Baker.
All in favor of those, of the motion on the table to approve the consent agenda, signify by aye.
Aye. Those
Opposing the motion, signify by nay. Ayes have it. Moving along to the bills, there were two bills. Actually, one was mentioned to you in the weekly update. That was Menta Academy. That was 2 months worth of billing. That was $15,299.99. That's for students who receive services off-site. And then we had to, today I got an invoice, we had to order paper once again. It's that time of year. The Freeburg Tribune had the lowest quote for us. And that was at $8,300. That's 200 cartons of paper. So that should be done Wednesday. But really, those were the only two bills out of the order. Does anybody have any questions on any of them? We need a motion.
Need a motion to approve. Mr. Lawson. Mr. Scheibel.
Mr. Smith. Yes. Mr. Scheibel. Yes. Mr. Baker.
Yes.
Mr. Lawson. Yes. Ms. Buck.
Yes. Standing committees. Special committees. Mark, petition for communications.
No. We had one Freedom of Information Act request. The request was from Anita Duker, who requested contracts, evaluations, benefit days, and payments to 2 vendors. And that request was filled within the 5 days. That was it.
Public participation. If you want to address the board, just ask if you just come up and give your name, please. And
I'm Jennifer Schoitner, and I'm here with Michelle Freebairn and Ashley Perkowski, the RTI team. And we have an RTI presentation to give. We're going to get it set up, and Michelle is going to pass out the slides to you.
yes, please.
So we are here to present on RTI in our school. You may be asking, what is RTI? RTI stands for Response to Intervention. It is a tiered level system of support for students. It is broken into tier 3s, tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Tier 1 is about 75 to 80% of our students. Tier 2 is about 15 to 20%, and tier 3 is about 5%. RTI comes in to support the tier 2 and tier 3 students. Tier 1 is the instruction that all students get in the classroom. Tier 2 and tier 3 is when they get placed into the RTI program. Students can be seen daily or even a couple of times a week. Usually lower grade students are seen more frequently than upper grade students, and the amount of times they are seen increases with the tier. So tier 3 students are seen more frequently than tier 2, and they get more intense instruction. It is a fluid system. Students can go in for a couple of weeks and then come out, or based on a skill maybe they're struggling with. Students are monitored with progress monitoring assessments and observational data from teachers as well as the RTI teachers as well. How do students qualify for RTI? They take a FastBridge benchmark screener 3 times a year, in the fall, the winter, and the spring, to assess reading and math skills. Typically, students under the 25th percentile are considered for RTI. However, the FastBridge assessment is only one determining factor in placing students in RTI. We also take teacher input as well, and we look at the whole child. We look at their academic, their social, and their emotional needs, because sometimes students just need extra reteach or a little bit of extra support and confidence boosting.
So as Jen said, we look at the child as a whole, right? We don't just look at one particular aspect of the child. So it's not always about academics. In our district, we use the MTSS system, the multi-tiered system of support. And again, this system takes a look at the child as a whole and their needs, their social needs, emotional needs, and then academic is where the 3 of us come in the most. But there are often times that we see a student that might be lacking self-confidence, and we just need to get them in for that extra boost to get them back in to the Gen Ed classroom. So we take our MTSS system of support very seriously. We also implemented a new system this year called the WIN team. It stands for What I Need. So we meet monthly. It includes the Director of Student Services, the building principals, RTI teachers, special education teachers, social work, speech, and classroom teachers. And so we all get together and we discuss each individual student and the issues or the struggles that we need to address to help them be successful. So like I said, we meet monthly to strategize and create interventions for students. Again, not just academic, behavior problems, social emotional needs, and we get together and discuss ideas on ways to help them as best we can. This next one, I know it's kind of small, it seems like a whole lot, but this is our actual model that we follow. It was just recently revamped, but it's always continuously being updated. This is basically just a list of all the amazing resources that we offer our students. It again is broken like into tier 1, 2, and 3, and this is our whole child approach. So this is what we use when we have these meetings. It's what we use every single day because we want to make sure that each child that we see is being supported and receiving the services that they need. So it's kind of broken down just by like, you know, the reading math interventions that they can receive, the social work. This year did a K-2 boot camp, which was that happened at the beginning of the year last year with all of COVID and stuff. It was just kind of to jumpstart those students that struggle in reading and math. So it just gave them that good push where they had like a 2-week.
We did it initially for 4 weeks. We did it for 2 years now. The first year we did it right after COVID for 4 weeks. So they saw me from 8:30 to 11 daily. So I had about 15 students that were the most struggling in reading and math in the primary center. We even had a couple of students from this building come over daily that first year. And then last year I had 14 students as well. So it really did show some significant improvements to kind of jumpstart those kiddos reading and math.
Just all the different resources that we offer. The most recent one too was we had a student that came in, an ESL student, so he spoke just Spanish. So our awesome aide Rachel Huddleston came in and she gave him, you know, Oh, she gave her, I'm sorry, the student was a girl, I'm sorry. She gave her the support that she needed to get, I mean, she spoke zero, like hardly any English at all. So she hopped in right away and got her the services that she needed. She just recently moved to Sparta, and Sparta is like calling Freeburg asking, like, what did you guys use? What were the things because she had really good support from her. So that was just kind of like our most recent example. But yeah, so that is our MTSS model.
All right. I'm going to talk about the increase in student support. So this is just a little bit of a breakdown of the last 2 years of what we have offered our students. I was hired in 2008, so I've been the reading specialist for a long time here, but I've only been able to service kids in the lower grades. And so that kind of happened up until the 2019-20 school year is kind of where we started looking at this. And I was servicing K through 4 students during that time frame. And then we kind of realized right before COVID hit that we needed some additional support. And then, bam, COVID hit us and kind of rocked our entire world. So we went down to the second area. In 2020-21 school year, we have hybrid. And I mean, if we look at really our district compared to a lot of other districts, our district fought hard, our admin fought hard for us to be in school as much as possible. So we were very lucky, even though we see some dramatic effects from COVID, we were really lucky to actually be in person as much as we possibly could. So that year, students K through 4 were serviced in reading. Jen was actually hired that year to be an interventionist in the elementary building to kind of support those kids 3 through 8. But we realized that we needed another 5th grade teacher, so she wasn't able to support an RTI that year. She was actually stepped into the 5th grade role. So my paraprofessionals, I have an amazing paraprofessional that I've had one every year. I've had different ones, but that year all my paraprofessionals were not rehired because of COVID and a lot of questions that we didn't know how we would service kiddos. So I didn't actually get service or an additional help with until January of that year. So Valerie Dean was hired, and she's been with me since, and she helps me support the K through 2 students. 2021-22, that year we were actually masked for almost the entire year. Students K through 8 were serviced in reading and math. Ashley was also hired. Jen was stepped into her full-time role. So we really had a full support system for our RTI kids, really at the most critical time we needed it. And then, of course, this school year, students K through 8 are serviced in reading and math. And we've hired Darylyn Gross, who is an amazing support for our school, and she's implemented the WIN program or the WIN team that Ashley talked about to really further support our students. And we really meet and talk and really look at that whole child approach and are doing really amazing things for our students this year. So kind of highlighting the points to consider through this, that this is really, if you think about it, our first normal year in 3 years of starting our school year without masks, being here without really any remote kids or any of those kind of options, that we're kind of working now to really fill in those gaps from COVID. Even if COVID didn't happen, of course, we have students that are always going to need those additional supports. Our district, as I mentioned before, had more in-person learning than any other district in our county. Students who lost learning due to COVID restrictions and the remote learning, of course, we know that happened, and people chose the remote option and had it available to them, which was an amazing choice. But a few of those students, just missed some of that in-person instruction and the need that we offer in a school setting. We continue to modernize our program. I think it's always constantly changing. I think we're always meeting, and we have an amazing team of teachers that are always trying to strive to be better and meet the needs of those students. We do have more students now in the RTI program than in previous years, mainly because we've added the 5th through 8th option. And of course, by law, K through 8 students need to be provided RTI services. So Jen and Ashley were hired to kind of fulfill those roles in those 3 grade programs. And I want to consider too, we're going to talk about some numbers next, but that when we look at our tier 3 numbers, that when we look at the entire data snapshots, that we are including our special ed population in those tier 3 numbers. So we'll kind of flip to that next slide.
So this is just like a district snapshot of our district-wide data over the last 4 years, starting 2019 all the way to this current school year. You notice tier 1 is that yellow bar. That's kind of your 80% of students. That's why that is so large. And if you've noticed, that's continuously gone up because that shows the increase in our student numbers throughout the last 4 years and how our district has grown. Tier 2 is the red bar there, and then the blue is tier 3. That's the lowest ones that are needing the most intense support and instruction.
And then just to piggyback off Jen, there's the math factor. So as you can see, it looks pretty similar to the reading. How tier 1 is for both our students.
And then this last slide is just talking about the district RTI percentages. We're looking at this current school year and our current data. So if you look at the left-hand side, that's the reading, and then the right-hand side is the math. So we've just broken it down into percentages based on that graph that we showed you before. So in our fall, tier 1 was 72.7%, and then in our winter was 68.1%. And that is typically, we do see a slight increase in the winter. Every bit of instruction, everything that they're doing in class tends to be a little harder. The test questions on FastBridge is kind of a levelized system of testing, so everything gets a little bit more difficult. So those kids that were kind of borderline struggling in the fall typically kind of show a little bit more need at the winter benchmark. Like we said, it's a fluid program. We don't say no unless, if we see a need, we always have an open door policy there. So again, we always talk to those teachers and make those decisions on who would qualify. Tier 2 is 8.7%, and tier 3, in the fall, and then the winter, it was jumped up to 19%. And it's kind of, we look at the 25th percentile, and it's a lot of kids that are just kind of on that cutoff. A lot of times that's why that number in tier 2 looks a little bit bigger, because we always just kind of want to make sure we don't miss anybody. We don't want to keep someone in tier 1 support if that teacher has just a little bit of concern and just wants to make sure that a lot of times it's a confidence booster, or just they're nervous, or they just want that small group reteach and they just feel comfortable in a smaller group setting. And then of course the tier 3 number is 12.2% in the fall, and in the winter it actually decreased a little to 10.3%. I do want to make note that 6.1% and then 6.2% are RTI being known. So special ed population is considered in that. So we're only seeing the 6.1% and the 6.2% of those graphs. And then the math on the other side is just kind of the same thing, 77, 9%, and then the 7% includes special ed and 5% is RTI. And then the winter, we saw a slight increase as well, 79%. Tier 2 hit right at that 10% mark. And tier 3 was 6.2, including special ed, those are special ed numbers, and then 5.4 is RTI. All right, I think we're finished.
So we thank you all very, very much.
So to put you guys on the spot, not really, more of just something to think about. So all of this is exactly what we're supposed to see at RTI. Kind of one thing I want to mention, we took this past couple months is to get this data up and illustrated, because the things that we are doing here are making a difference. When you think about recovering student performance after COVID. Distribution curve, that's an ideal distribution. That's like the perfect magic mix, that 80, 20, or 80, 15, 5, or whatever it is. It's like the magic mix. It's like near perfection for all schools across the country. So with those numbers, you guys should be really proud of that. Especially those tier 2 kids, as you kind of mentioned there, Mr. Bear and B, they don't turn anybody away. And I think that's the important thing. So when we find somebody that is not quite, in that low 25th percentile, we grab them, bring them in, address whatever needs to be addressed. And it's usually a really quick turnaround. Those kids are back into, tier 1 setting pretty quickly. So my ask for you guys is, if Mr. Jansen's projections hold up, on some TIP money maybe coming, do you have the resources that you need to continue a robust program? If you don't, make a wish list and communicate that to our administration and certainly see what we can do to support that. That TIP expiration is going to be a big one. Great job.
Current administration's been very supportive of us right now, so we appreciate that.
We couldn't do without.
Yeah, and the resources. And I didn't have a Promethean board for a long time. And that was just the one basic need provided right after that.
We can get you maybe some additional.
Thank you.
Anyway, great job.
Thank you, Whitney. Have anybody else for public participation? If you would like to speak, just ask me to come to the podium and let us know your name, please.
My name is Kayla Webster. Hello, everyone. My name is Kayla Webster, and I was an employee of Freeburg District 70 from August of 2018 until May of 2022. During this time, I was employed as a 6th or 8th grade special education teacher and track coach. I also served on the district leadership team, the MTSS team, Tier 2 and 3 intervention team, was the membership coordinator for FETA, which is the teachers union, and was a regional delegate for the IEA. I hold certifications in the state of Illinois as a teacher, principal, and director of special education. I want to be clear that my intent in being here tonight and in writing the formal complaint that I submitted to the board in August is coming from a place of love for the community of Freeburg, for its students, for parents trying to advocate for their children, and for employees of the district. Freeburg became home for me, and many of the people here became a second family to me. However, I feel that it is my personal moral duty and my professional ethical duty to bring issues to light that have a negative effect on the stakeholders of this district. Therefore, in August, I submitted a 13-page formal complaint to the board after speaking with 3 different board members who asked me to put my experience in writing. My complaint details various special education issues I experienced, such as the administration not following certain special ed timelines, not abiding by proper procedures related to following IEPs.
Unfortunately, because that is a personnel issue, we cannot discuss that in this open forum, so I'm going to.
You guys told me at the last meeting if I had questions that I needed to address them. She's here to address those, so we can all be.
Unfortunately, we have legal counsel here.
She needs to be heard. Public participation.
We cannot discuss personnel.
You're not going to answer her anyway.
This is our best interest for our community. Why can't we know about it? Full disclosure.
You guys are the ones that brought it up at the meeting and said,
Once again, it's a personnel issue and we cannot discuss it.
you're not going to discuss anything.
I have legal counsel here and they haven't, we cannot discuss this.
Then what happened with the complaint?
I'm sorry.
Excuse me. Somebody else.
Kayla,
I'll read it. You want me to read it?
I'll read it. It's not this change.
It cannot be read by anyone. I have legal counsel here. We cannot discuss anything.
You're not going to discuss anything. Let her speak.
You cannot.
Let her speak. You're not going to say anything back.
Do you understand?
I do understand.
Okay.
I understand exactly
What I'm saying is that we have legal counsel here and this cannot be.
What are you trying to hide?
We're not trying to
post it on
That's what I want to know. Every time something doesn't figure out well, then it gets not disclosed.
She's not an employee of the district. It's public.
I've lived here my whole life, and I don't know a whole bunch of things that have happened here, and that's really disturbing me when my children go.
You have approved special education.
Why do you always want to keep what is not convenient for us to hear out of our ears? That's not right.
Do we have someone else that had a public?
Just keep reading.
Unfortunately.
Then I'll move on to the part that I can't read. Okay.
We have copies.
So the things that I did experience, I want to say that I know there are others who did not experience these things, and I know that to a certain degree, people are trying to silence those thoughts. I do want to say that it does not negate the fact that it did happen to students and employees of this district, no matter how marginalized of a population that was. I love this community, and that's why I wanted to come here and be brave and state the reason why I really left at the end of last school year. And I fear that if things do not change, you'll continue to lose valuable, committed, exceptional employees that genuinely care about the district and have a passion for their work. I fear that the district will also be at risk for potential lawsuits. I appreciate your time, and I hope you truly consider the things I've shared and put sincere thought into what's best for the community of Freeburg going forward.
All right. I'm sure no one knows who I am now.
Let me hold that for you.
Okay, so this is the message I got from Jamie Smith, March 24th.
And I'm sorry to ask your name.
Amanda. Amanda.
Amanda, what's your last name?
Amanda. Amanda, I got a question. Since you updated the rules and considering the past post from the anonymous poster about the grade school, the information that was posted was a closed session meeting, and since I'm on the board, I would like to know if you would voluntarily give me the name of the individual that made the post. I will also add there's a lot more going on than what was posted, and it does need to be addressed with this individual. Thank you for your time and understanding. Not sure why you decided to only direct this message to me and not the two other admins on the Freeburg area parent page on social media that you're referring to. There is anonymity in those posts for a reason, and it will remain as such. I did not ask to be involved in any of this, and the parents of Freeburg have rights to voice their opinions on a private group. However, now I'm getting letters in the mail with no return sender or signed at all to try to get me to call out someone I don't even know. I will not be doing that either. Whatever's going on in the school, admin, teacher, etc., the parents in the community do have a right to know the facts from what is expressed in multiple posts that there's a problem here with bullying and toxic work culture. I refuse to let anyone running for board or on the board at the school try to harass me, to share information, and it makes me sad to know that you are doing it to someone that has no affiliation with the school, with the board, or any business in this town at all, which is why I believe you're doing it to your own staff. You need to change, and whether you not like it or not, the people in this town are watching every move that is made, and we're tired of letting it slide.
Most of you all know me, okay? My name is Sean Bricker, and Amanda lives across the street from me, right on Old Faithful Road. Went to school here my whole life, almost everybody here. They're amazing neighbors, and I keep experiencing problems with bullying. I have a lot of names of a lot of people that I consider dear friends. They have kids that are being very bullied. And I think that at this day and age, there's enough crap going on in the world. Can't we start to teach our children to get along, be better people? Seriously. That's all I can say.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak?
My name is Stephanie Combs, and I moved here for the district. And I want to first start by saying I see a bunch of familiar teachers in the building tonight. What Ms. Freeburn touched on earlier with the RTI program, my son has benefited severely from it. Thank you. I can't thank you enough. So I had no plan of speaking tonight, as I finally had a phone call returned after I made a Facebook post. I also want to state that I do and will always have your teacher's back. As a retired teacher's kid, I know how much time and effort and their own hard-earned money pours back into their own session. So I know if you have to make a phone call and a teacher's point of view, you'll essentially be taking away from either your lunch hour or your own family's time. I also know our teachers know that sometimes the only parent figure is you, the teachers. However, I watched my mom take a few minutes away from her birth kids to try to make an impact and difference on her school kids. To this day, my mom still has contact with said kids. Every important thing that life has to offer them, whether it's kids, weddings, family members passing away, those kids still reach out to my mom. But the reason I'm here, why was an 8-year-old putting a paper in the wrong folder? Why was he disciplined? Why wasn't a phone call made? My son has definitely benefited from the RTI program. He's done a boot camp, and I can't express how thankful I am for that. But another issue you guys touched on tonight was the emotional behavior. I also have a family member in the district that was sent out of the district because his behavior wasn't able to be contained here. And I understand that sometimes it's out of your guys' control. But also, if we're doing that, why can't we pour in a little extra? And why is there a bullying issue? Pretty much what I have. Thank you.
You guys all know who I am. First off, we have amazing teachers.
See you, man.
Jennifer Beck. We have amazing teachers in this school district. Better than some of the teachers I've seen anywhere else. But I do have one question for the board. When we punish our kids for bullying, what do we do to the school board members that we elected when they bully the teachers? Teachers should be allowed to speak. They should be allowed to say what they need to without the fear of something happening. Listen to your community. Because here soon the community is going to be able to vote. And you guys will hear very clearly how we feel.
Hi, I'm Amber Lonsdale. And I've been coming to board meetings for a while. And since that time, I've watched a systematic attack against a member of this board. And somehow it got turned around that he was saying bad things about the teachers. When what really happened was we were discussing the recess law. And Mrs. Foppy leaned over to Dr. Brink and said, "You need to talk to the teachers." That was the point at which things got blamed on the teachers. None of us parents have ever blamed the teachers, and nobody else has ever said, "You need to talk to the teachers." It is lie after lie after lie. And I have asked you, I have pleaded with you, and I've done that. If the issues aren't addressed, I will be going to the U.S. Department of Education and the media. The fact that Jamie Smith is messaging admins Facebook, and stating, I am a member of the board, and then asking for a favor, if you don't see nothing wrong with that, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, he talked in that message about something that happened during closed session. And it was a bully tactic and an intimidation after he watched other people bully and intimidate Amanda. You need to get control of what's going on here. If Dr. Brink is stealing money from the district, it needs to be investigated, and she needs to resign or be terminated. It's enough. How much money is it going to cost us? 1 month, we paid $18,000 in a single month for litigation expenses. It's time for that to stop. That money could have gone to our RTI program. Imagine what they could have done. Mr. Baker, I am truly sorry for the attack that you have sustained. And the bad news is that they will continue to vilify you and your family in the school and in this community. The good news is that the best ones are the ones that are vilified. We see you and we know that you're fighting for us. We know that you've only asked this board and school to follow the law and the policy. I don't know how that got twisted around, but that is specifically the only thing you have ever addressed in this room.
Here you go. Out.
I just picked up wrong.
First, I would like to say that I sat up here last month and I addressed some of the teachers and I thanked you for doing your job and for going above and beyond, and for helping my daughter. And I was moved to tears. Following that, I was met with an insult almost immediately. That's okay. I can take that. But I'm not going to have anybody stand up online or anywhere else and tell me that I don't like teachers, that I don't like Freeburg, because this is my home. I bought into it. I buy into the dream. I buy into the village. According to the Illinois Council of School Attorneys, revised May 18th, as elected public officials, school board members hold a fiduciary position and owe duties of loyalty and good faith to their school districts. The fiduciary duty requires the board member to put the best interests of the district ahead of his or her other personal or financial interests. Moreover, in the mandated oath of office, each board member swears or affirms to faithfully discharge the duties of the office in accordance with the state and federal constitutions and laws, and to respect taxpayer interests by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets. It's on page 6, if anybody wants to check my citation. What are the consequences if a board member breaches the fiduciary duty? In some instances, the board member may forfeit his or her seat on the school board as a consequence of the breach.
Depending upon the nature of the breach, the board member could also face legal action by the school district, a taxpayer, or a member of the public for an accounting and possible restitution. The board member could further face criminal penalties imposed by statutes, including penalties under the Gift Ban Act or the other Public Officer Prohibited Activities Act, also on page 6. Forgive me, I'm not a public speaker, nor am I a politician. Tonight, our school board is going to be considering the contracts of our administrators. Our superintendent contract does not expire until June 30th, 2024. Our financial officer contract does not expire until June 30th, 2026. Our transportation officer contract does not expire until June 30th, 2024. Our elementary principal contract does not expire until June 30th, 2024. And our primary center principal contract does not expire until June 30th, 2024. Now, I'm sure a handful of people in this room are aware that there is an election within the next 8 days. So, I'm not sure what the precipitous nature or cause is to be negotiating these contracts before the new board comes on. Because the reality is, no matter what happens, whether I win, somebody else wins, Bill May wins, it is not going to be the same board. Because Ben House isn't even running. Okay? There's a new board coming in, and they are going to be talking about these contracts. And some of these contracts are going to go beyond the new board's term. The new board's not even going to get an opportunity to have anything to say in this. So the superintendent contract, we're currently in year 2, approximately $112,200. Superintendent, in case you're wondering, has 20 vacation days a year. Pursuant to item 13 in the contract, the superintendent may, subject to the approval of the board, undertake speaking engagements, writing, lecturing, and other professional duties, services, or obligations incident to the superintendent's office and those of the superintendent's profession, so long as same do not interfere with the performance of the superintendent's duties as superintendent, and so long as they do not provide additional compensation to the superintendent without the prior approval of the board president, or if unanticipated compensation is given the superintendent for such outside activity, the superintendent shall report same to the board president. Dr. Melanie Brink is a presenter for the Illinois Principals Association. Are you kidding me? You just did a full friggin' PowerPoint presentation. I called the Illinois Principals Association.
Ms. Stevens, I do have to ask you, I usually give prisoners 3 minutes. We did get the RTI more time, but I am going to ask you to wrap.
Oh, I'm sure yeah. So, I'll make it real quick.
You can have my 3 minutes. I'll yield it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Dr. Melanie Brink is a presenter for the Illinois Principals Association. I called and spoke with them. Lovely woman. Checked to make sure, and they do, in fact, compensate. Now, did I get into it? No. I don't know what price. But I can tell you that on June 9th, 2022, June 10th, 2022, June 21st, 2022, June 22nd, 2022, June 27th, 2022, June 28th, 2022, July 28th, 2022, July 29th, 2022, August 5th, 2022, August 6th, 2022, August 9th, 2022, August 10th, 2022. I'm going to leave off 22. My mouth's getting dry. August 10th, September 15th, September 16th, November 4th, November 5th, December 2nd, December 3rd, December 7th, December 13th. Can somebody bring me my water, please? February 1st, February 2nd, and February 24th, and February 25th. She presented, thank you so much, for the Illinois Principals Association. She also presented on March 13th and 14th, but per her contract, those are not working days because it was spring break. So all total, she has presented since June 9th, 2022, approximately 168 hours. She has taken a total vacation of 9.75 hours. Now listen, I am not a mathematician, okay? But that leads to approximately 158.25 hours. Based on a full-time employment of 2,080 hours, on her salary, that is approximately $8,536.37 plus TRS and insurance that she has received on the Freeburg taxpayers' dime. Those are school days when children are present. Or in summer.
Not that. The teachers can't get a raise, but we can afford that.
Our taxes are going up, folks. Under item 17 of the superintendent contract, termination of agreement. Section D, discharge for cause. For cause shall mean any conduct, act, or failure to act by the superintendent which is detrimental to the best interest of the school district, board, or any cause stated in the Illinois School Code. It is my opinion that between the presenting on the dime of the taxpayer and the bullying of the staff and children of Freeburg District 70, I think we have enough cause. And board members, I think, given what was posted, if there's any truth to it, you also have a cause. Thank you very much.
We're going to move on to public participation. I'm sorry. Yeah, sir, please come forward, so we can hear you.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. Ladies first.
Oh, sir. Asian for me.
Well, my name is Jerry Henning. Lived in Union 55 years. Retired teacher coach at Freeburg High School. Served since my coaching days and teaching days are over. I have been involved with the community, all different types of things, from being the planning zoning board member here, making plans for future. Also served in a number of other capacities. School board for 12 years at the high school. 76 years old. I have no children or anyone else. My main concern is Freeburg itself. It's mine, my wife's community. I get everything in my power, my wife and everything, to support everything in this community. Swim team I started 30 years ago. I ran the swim pool for 30 years, so on and so forth. My comments here as a very firm backer of everything in Freeburg, especially the children, grade school, elementary school, preschool, high school and beyond, it is my personal belief from the heart that the teachers we have here, elementary, preschool, and grade school, high school, are the best. I've been through the situation as a board member for 12 years. Board members have gigantic responsibilities. The biggest responsibility is to their staff and to the children of this community. I think all the schools, especially you have to judge the preschool, the elementary school, by their success, by how the students are doing. That is the key. And from what I have seen the last 3 years or so, improvement has been great. Therefore, I am in total support of our teachers, of all the employees here at the school, and of the administration. And I support the board members. But it's hard for me as a board member to stand and see someone dragged under the plow. And I do not think that is just. I think the entire board up here, and especially this, again, Dr. Breen, Mr. Jansen, and the rest of the administration, principals, have done a good job. And I highly, highly support them, and I hope the board supports them. And I thank you for your time. I wasn't planning on talking tonight, but being a longtime citizen and someone that is very interested in this community, that's how I feel. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm trying to use a nice loud voice, and Mr. Henning, I agree. As a member of this community, I've taught here with you for so many years. We have great staff and community members here in Freeburg, and we are blessed to live in Freeburg. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Michelle Etter, and my husband and I purchased a home in Freeburg 30 years ago this spring. And my 3 children are products of the Freeburg school system. Additionally, I've taught at Freeburg High School for 27 years. My investment and commitment to this community is professional, but even more, it's deeply personal. Those 2 words, investment and community, are what have brought me to nearly every board meeting this past year, and what compelled me to finally speak tonight. I recently heard the statement, communities are not here to serve schools, but rather schools are here to serve the community. When I reflect on many of the board meetings that I've attended over this last entire year, so I've attended the majority of them, I would say I missed 2 or 3, but I kept arriving at one word, and the word is dismissive. You, the president of the board, too often dismiss members of our community who take time to come to the meetings and raise valid concerns by saying thank you, but then doing nothing more. This community does not need a simple thank you, they need action. Sadly, you, the superintendent, often dismiss these same community members who ask these valid questions by simply not even responding. This community does not need your silence. The community needs answers. You, the president of the board, often dismiss your colleagues in meetings, denying their opportunity to speak as an elected board official. This community does not need you to model disrespect. This community needs you to show up to every meeting and be professional. Clearly, you, the superintendent, have made some decisions this year, from what I'm understanding here, even tonight, that has brought legal action and several investigations to our district this year. This community does not need one more legal fee or another lawsuit. You, the board, have dismissed question after question pertaining to these investigations over several months now. And further, according to tonight's agenda, plan to consider a new and longer contract for the superintendent. This community does not need you to forge ahead blindly. This community needs you to act with integrity and advocate for the community that has elected you to represent us. I would ask that you do not dismiss the voices that are here tonight, and for the many that are fearful to even speak up. I would ask you to pause, I would ask you to listen, and I would ask you to act in good faith maybe even have an independent evaluation conducted to gather all the thoughts and desires of all of your educators and your families, and then I would ask you to evaluate that data with professionalism and transparency with the public. I would ask you then and only then to act. Acting on a continuation now, when the superintendent still has a year on her contract, when there is so much discord among your community, and when there are so many questions and concerns being raised, serves no one. It does not serve our community that has elected you, and it definitely does not serve our children. The only reason that I can think this is on the agenda for a closed session tonight is because, as already mentioned, it is the last meeting before the election on April 4th. This is not a move that demonstrates integrity on your part. This is not a move that demonstrates professionalism. This is not a move that demonstrates you are listening to the community that has elected you. I return to my remark at the very beginning. My investment in this community is deeply personal. In writing these words to speak tonight, I know that I do not seek, I want you all to know that I don't seek to be right, that I seek to work alongside of you in order to get it right for our kids, to get it right for our teachers, and to get it right for our community. Thank you.
Adults would act like kids.
You're showing kids that you guys are bullying each other.
No one else for public participation, if you'd like to speak, please come up to the podium.
Dismiss the election.
We have no one else. Just making sure that people who want to speak at the podium, if we're. We have one more?
Does anyone want to read the anonymous letter that, oh, okay.
Mr. Lawson, I think you can.
All right, so March was a busy month for a lot of our students, a lot of our teachers, a lot of folks here at school. If you were a parent, you were probably eating a lot of dinners out at one of our fine establishments here in town. We did have our solo ensemble contest in our band and chorus department. It's a big effort that's put together by Ms. Ketchum and a few other fine folks in the community to help judge those. But I kind of often think about, what is perfection? I know a lot of us have played sports throughout the years. You always strive for that perfect season. But we had 25 Hornets that found perfection during those solo and ensemble contests. So I want to read their names into the record, make sure that they get some recognition. If you guys happen to see them out and about, make sure you give them a nice pat on the back. So bear with me. There's a bunch. All right, 4th grade, we had Jake Hotz, Elijah Ketchum. 5th grade, Arabella Patterson. Oh, let me back up to Elijah Ketchum. He had 2 perfect awards there, so two perfect sessions. One vocally, one with his instrument. Arabella Patterson, 3 awards. Tara Bison, 2 awards. Golf, Jackson Lizakowski, Gavin Cates, Emilia Estevez-Villa. I hope I said that correctly. Maya Cook, Dawson Whitty, Chet Hutchins, Aaron Sommer, Elise Freebear, and Owen Green. 6th grade, we had Sam Chris, 2 awards. Brayden Beef, 2 awards. Lucy Fiedler, Finley Gagan, 2 awards. Annabella Lauer, 3 awards. Brendan Fry, Jess Payne, Sheila Jarvis. 7th grade, Caitlin Higgins, Grace McCullough, and Grace Renison. So in total, we had about 92 of our music inclined Hornets in band and chorus participate in the solo and ensemble contest. I don't have enough card stock to print cards for most kids, so we're going to make it right by all 92. Working with Ms. Ketchum, we're going to do a donut day to recognize those participants on April 3rd, 8:15. So hopefully the admin don't mind if I take over a few minutes, and parents don't mind that I really practiced. Great job, everybody. This is good stuff out there. There's trivia. There's all sorts of really great stories out there. Your kids are out there doing wonderful things. If you heard the name tonight, Krause. You guys did great. They learned this music by themselves on their own for the most part. Just a lot of self-motivation, determination, and driven for excellence. So, great job, guys. Care for kids.
Our superintendent's report. The Freeburg Area Women's Club hosted their bingo fundraiser on March 4th, and there was a group of us that attended. I just wanted to thank the Women's Club for supporting the teachers and staff. They provided food for us on parent-teacher conferences this year, so we just want to fully thank them and organizations like this that help us out throughout the year. Thanks to our PTO for purchasing new medical supplies for our emergency backpacks. These get updated from time to time, but it does cost to keep those updated, so thank you to the PTO for purchasing these. I want to share a little bit about our new program we are trying to pilot for the remainder of this school year, and if we like it, then we're going to add it in next year. We're piloting this program in grades 1, 3, and 5. One of the tiers of our MTS system is the social emotional aspect. This year, we've been using a part of our FastBridge system that checks for social emotional needs, but it seems to not be meeting the needs of our students. And like I said, it only checks a couple times a year. Ms. Kaczynski, our social worker, just didn't feel like it really was targeting what we wanted it to, and it really wasn't as proactive as we felt it needed to be. Last summer, we had a group of teachers. It was Ashlyn Birch, Ms. Kaczynski, Jim Jansen, Mr. Wittenauer, and myself. We attended a training on social emotional needs of students and staff. One of the areas that we did feel we needed to be a little bit more proactive in is identifying student needs ahead of time and staff needs. This program here, it is called Class Catalyst, and what this is students can check in each morning, and it identifies, it provides longitudinal real-time data on how individual students' needs are, what they need. It also can give them feedback on some self-regulation skills. So teachers can identify things for their individual classes. So instead of just saying like, maybe our class needs help in this area, and everybody's doing the same thing, it really targets individual classes. So we're going to see how this works in grades 1, 3, and 5, and then collect data that way, and then hopefully if it seems to be something that we can use, we can spread it out throughout the entire school next year. This year it's being provided for a grant, so we're not paying anything for it. And we're hoping, since we're one of the first ones in the area, we're hoping that we can get on board and they might be able to provide it next year through this grant. Again, if we can like it. So, kind of excited about that. The family of Skip Hillman chose the Freeburg Primary Center Library to receive the gifts in his honor. So to date, we received $2,560. Myself and Ms. Sparks sent a thank you letter to his family, so with regards to his family. But we did receive this memorial, so again, in the honor of Skip. The gym floor will be refinished on July 10th, so we'll hopefully have our gym floor done then. Our book study that we had talked about, we have two different groups working on them. The Energy Bus by John Gordon, and that's being led by Brooke Krause and Teresa Kaczynski. And then we have From Good to Great to Unstoppable by Tim Grover, and that's being led by Jim Jansen and Jesse Jansen. These should be winding up in the next week or so. So thank you again to the teachers who participated and then their group leaders for leading it. So we've really enjoyed those this past month. Trivia night for the students. Thank you to Mr. Schultz and for organizing that, and the Scholar Bowl team for helping with that as well. Special thank you to all the teachers, the staff, the parents, and the students from the high school. It was really a great night. It was just fun last Friday night, so thank you again for everyone for that. This Friday night, Ms. Ketchum is having her annual talent show, so really excited about that. So hopefully you guys can all come out. It's for students of all ages, so we're very excited. I want to brag for a moment on our custodial staff and maintenance staff. They worked over spring break to help deep clean our building. A special thank you to Mr. Tim for all the extra calls he takes when we're away, and those late night calls. He's been great. Last, I cannot end without thanking Ms. Christina, our elementary secretary. This will be her last week with us. She is moving on to a new adventure.
Her presence in the hallways, in the office, it's just, it's going to be very well missed. Her smile brings so much to us. So thank you, Miss Christina, for all you've done for us. We will sure miss you. Best of luck. Oh, our numbers. Sorry, our numbers. We are at 789. We are down 1, so I'll just kind of go through. Early childhood, we're at 16, same. Preschool, we're at 20 on the same. Kindergarten, 71. 82 for first grade, same. Second grade, 76, same. Third grade, 86, same. Fourth grade, 82, same. Fifth grade, 85, we are down 1. Sixth grade, 77, down 1. Seventh grade, 107, same. Eighth grade, 87, up 1. For a total of 789. I think Mark's going to give the update on the primary.
Yeah, work on that has begun. The temporary wall has been built, so that's where you can demo the outside of it and still not inside of the building secure. They're going to be here tomorrow morning to start some work. They're rain not expected until Friday, so that's the big key here for that outside work in the brick. So they're watching the forecast, so hopefully you're going to get some work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Rain's expected Friday, so you get 3 solid days to work in. And then see where that goes. And after that, the inside work will be done. We can get some cooperation with the weather. It should just be work before it's done. So, but we just Rich Lansing. But tomorrow morning they'll be here first thing just to get started.
Principal's reports.
At the primary center, the week of March 2nd through 6th, we had a mini boot camp. It's another smaller version, a scaled down version of what we did to start the school year, just kind of review rules, procedures, and expectations. A little past the midpoint is a good time to review those after we come back from break and get back in the swing of things again. On the 7th, the entire district participated in the nationwide tornado drill at 10 a.m. Students and staff did an excellent job of moving classes to the hallways away from windows and doors of practice, staying low, protecting their heads in the event that would ever happen. On the 23rd and 24th, pre-K screenings were held. We had 42 children from the Freeburg community participate in the screenings. It was a great team effort by staff, members from pre-K, early childhood, OT, PT, speech, special ed, social work, school nurse, front office, and custodial staff. Children identified as having developmental delays were referred for additional services at that time, and any child identified as being most in need of additional support before kindergarten will be offered our pre-K services. Priority is given to children who will be 4 by September 1st. But I want to give a special thanks to Jody Lau for planning and organizing the screening. She does a wonderful job in getting those for us put together and very nicely organized. On the 8th, I'm going all over the place here, I'm out of order, but on the 8th, 2nd grade had a field trip to the Magic House, and I had tons and tons of compliments on their behavior, and they also came back telling me how much fun they had. They had the best day ever. Some of them were just so thrilled to talk about all the different levels of the Magic House, but I was so thrilled to hear the compliments, and they represented Freeburg very well that day, and they had a blast doing so. So we're very proud of them and their teachers. And finally, our family reading night was on the 21st. It was a really great night. We had an excellent turnout from students and their families. We had over 200 people in attendance. Ms. Freeburg and her team planned so many fun activities for everybody to enjoy. There were grade level story times, crafts with service dog, a skit performed by some of Freeburg's finest, free books for students, snacks in the cafeteria, an obstacle course list set up, a puppy photo op. We are so proud of everyone's efforts in creating this event and offering it to our community. There really are amazing things happening in our school.
On the week of the 6th, we also did a mini boot camp here at the elementary building, and we reviewed rules and student expectations. Like I said, good midpoint, kind of review some things, noticing some issues in the hallways, the bathrooms, different things like that. Good time we touched that. On the 22nd, this past Wednesday, we started the Illinois Assessment of Readiness Testing, and the students were very excited about this, as well as the staff. Unfortunately, today, the internet did not want us to test. So, unfortunately, we had an internet outage today for about 6 hours. We are hoping that testing will conclude on Wednesday, and that we'll be able to make the makeup testing by the end of the week. One thing that we have been trying to do here is increase our social emotional learning. As Dr. Rankin mentioned earlier, we are piloting a class catalyst in grades 1 through 5. The neat thing about this program is when students check in, it can either look like an app or they can go to a website. So the younger kids, they kind of pick like, well, all the kids do, they pick a battery. You got low energy, high energy. You can kind of get a pretty good idea where the students are at. Also, when they check in, the younger kids are going to have less emojis, the older kids would have more. So if you imagine the younger kid have a frowning face, kind of a neutral face, and a happy face. So you can get a real quick judge of where the students are at, what their energy level's at, where their current mood is at. On last Friday, we had the Scalable Host Tree Night here in the cafeteria. I know it was well attended, and it's always a great time. The students bring food, dress up, all that kind of fun stuff with their favorite faculty members. The 5 Essential Survey will close this Friday on the 31st. This is the final reminder. The Illinois State Board invites our parents to participate in the School Improvement Survey. The link is found throughout the Teacher Ease communications. If you haven't done so, please take the time to complete that. The talent show is this Friday at 6 in the main gym. Please come out and support our students with all their talented acts, and congratulations to Ruth Buchanan. She is the March Optimist Student of the Month.
All right. New business?
We have the 2023-2024 school calendar in front of you. We talked about it last month. Just some ideas. Items of note there are August 14th and 15th we'll get here with the Teachers Institutes. This August 16th will be the first day for kids. And March 25th and 29th will be the spring break. And May 21st is the tentative last day of school for students. The only day that's different from River High School, as we mentioned last month, is that November 1st, the day after last month.
Just need a motion to approve the calendar. Mr. Lawson, second by Mr. Smith.
All in favor of the motion for approving the calendar for next year, signify by aye. Then next is the first reading of board policy revisions this evening. We'll let the first reading this evening, and second reading will be no, it's just first reading here tonight. I made a motion on that. Oh, for the first reading, yes.
Got a motion for the first reading. Mr. Baker, second by
those in favor of the motion to approve those revisions, signify by aye. And then we have a motion to go into executive session, consider the appointment, compensation,
Got a motion? Mr. Scheibel, second by
all of those in favor of going into closed session, signify by aye.
Okay. We'll start with the motion to employ Elizabeth Dole as teacher for the 2023-2024 school year. I'll make the motion. I'll second. Mr. Smith? Yes. Mr. Scheibel? Yes. Mr. Baker? Yes. Mr. Lawson? Yes. Ms. Spot?
Yes.
Motion to employ Reagan Berkner as teacher for the 2023-2024 school year.
Mr. Baker, second by Mr. Lawson.
Mr. Smith? Yes. Mr. Scheibel? Yes. Mr. Baker? Yes. Mr. Lawson? Yes. Ms. Spot?
Yes.
So you guys want to start with principals and Fritz? All right, a motion to approve a new 3-year contract for Associate Principal Lauren Holcomb as presented.
I'll second.
Mr. Lawson, I'm sorry, and Mr. Scheibel.
Motion to approve on Mr. Smith. Yes. Mr. Scheibel. Yes. Mr. Baker. Yes. Mr. Lawson. Yes. Ms. Spot.
Yes.
Motion to approve a new 3-year contract for elementary principal Ryan Whitmire as presented.
Do I have a motion? Mr. Lawson?
I'll second.
Mr. Scheibel?
The contract, roll call, Mr. Smith. Yes. Mr. Schott. Yes. Mr. Baker. Yes. Mr. Lawson. Yes. Ms. Fox.
Yes.
A motion to approve a new 3-year contract for primary center principal Lindsay Clark. I'll second.
Mr. Scheibel, Mr. Lawson?
Motion to approve, Mr. Smith. Yes. Mr. Scheibel. Yes. Mr. Baker. Yes. Mr. Lawson. Yes. Ms. Fox.
Yes.
All right, where do you guys want? We've got to do two letters of resignation. Want to do those now?
That's fine.
Motion to approve the letter of resignation from Secretary Christina Cameron effective March 31st. I'll make the motion.
Mr. Baker, second by Mr. Smith.
All those in favor of the motion, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed signify by nay. Let's have it. And then a motion to accept a letter of resignation for Ben Youngie as assistant boys basketball coach.
Mr. Scheibel, second by Mr. Smith.
Motion to approve that on the table is all those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed signify by nay. Let's have it.
Mark, I have a motion to terminate Dr. Melanie Brink.
Do I have a second on that?
That's not on the agenda.
Personnel is.
Yeah, and that's okay. But that's not on the agenda. It has to be on the agenda.
Personnel is on.
Right, but the actual motion maker to take action to terminate, that's not on the agenda. Just putting it as personnel is not enough in order to come out of closed session. That's something that had you wanted that to be up for discussion in closed session and then to be moved on later, that would have had to have been put on the agenda specific termination.
No. But
we can
were we not in the same room? I said that in the room.
Right, but it's not on the agenda. That action is not on the agenda. In order to take action, to vote, for the board to vote and take action, it has to be noticed on the agenda. Just saying you're going to close session on a personnel issue is not noticed that you vote on it.
My apologies for seeming argumentative. I'm sorry, but
No,
your email that you sent to the board.
No, it said it can be discussed in closed session, but if it's something that you want to take action on, it has to be properly.
All that has to say is personnel. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 are just they're not necessary.
No, that's not what my letter said.
That's what the law. Yes.
No, it's not. If you want to take action, if you want to
You
vote.
said all you need is personnel.
No, I said if you want to discuss something, all you have to have is personnel. I said if you want to take action when you come out, it has to be properly posted and it has to be included on the agenda.
I'm going to take a recess to look at this email.
Yeah, that's fine.
I make a motion to take a recess.
I'll second it. Let's just check it out.
Why don't you here? I mean,
It's the last paragraph of that one.
General subject matter.
Jason, I'd ask you not to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Here, if you want to go over the last section.
You guys can step out the hall there.
Let's go. Just
Just complain about. I know.
You don't want to sell it just for you.
I'll make my motion to terminate Dr. Brink at the next meeting. I make a motion to table, well, let's go back into closed session, or open session. I make the motion to go back into open session.
Open.
I will make my motion next month. Discipline of an individual. And now make a motion to table the contract of Dr. Brink, superintendent.
Got a second?
You guys said it 3 times.
Got a second? Got a second?
All right, now
We'll
you
go to your contract,
go to mine.
please.
Motion
As written.
to approve a new 5-year contract for financial officer Mark Jansen.
Got a motion. Mr. Scheibel, second by Mr. Smith.
Mr. Smith, a roll call of the motion on the floor. Mr. Smith. Yes. Mr. Scheib. Yes. Mr. Baker.
Present.
Mr. Lawson.
Yes.
Ms. Fox.
Yes.
Motion to approve a new 5-year contract for Superintendent Mark Brink as presented.
Move to amend the motion by placing the language of 5 years.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Scheibel?
All right, motion moved and seconded to change the language from 5-year to 3-year with all other language the same. Roll call of the motion on the floor. Mr. Smith. Yes. Mr. Scheib. Yes. Mr. Baker.
No.
Mr. Lawson.
Yes.
Ms. Fox.
Yes.
That's it. That's all.
I have a motion here. I have a motion to adjourn. First by Mr. Lawson, second by Mr. Smith.
Motion to adjourn on floor. I'll make the motion.
Aye.
Alex, by name.